In thermodynamics, the last session, we tried to understand the concept of reversible and irreversible processes. Then, in the year 1824, a French engineer, namely Carnot, conceived a theoretical engine. Normally, a heat engine is a device that is used to convert heat into work. The theoretical engine that was conceived by Carnot is free from all the defects of a practical engine. This engine cannot be realized in actual practice, but however, this can be taken as a standard against which the performance of an actual engine can be judged. The engine conceived by Carnot was something like this. It has the following parts as shown here. There was a cylinder assumed to be having a movable piston containing a working substance, and there is a source which conducts heat. There is a sink which also conducts heat on either side, and there is an insulating stand. So these are the parts that are constituted by the engine that was conceived by Carnot. If you analyze the schematic approach given here, among these parts, if you look at the working substance is generally an ideal gas enclosed in a cylinder piston arrangement. That is a cylinder with perfectly non-conducting walls and perfectly conducting base fitted with frictionless non-conducting piston. Whereas the source, if you take, it is the source of heat, a hot body of high thermal capacity maintained at a high temperature, T1 Kelvin, serves as a source. The high thermal capacity of the source is necessary so that on taking heat from it, no change of temperature occurs. The sink, this is a cold body maintained at a lower temperature, let us say T2 Kelvin. It serves as a sink. Usually, sink is the surrounding atmosphere, and there is something called insulating stand. This is to make the whole system perfectly a non-conducting stand that is put on the base of a cylinder. But the idea of this theoretical engine expected to be free from all the defects of a practical engine. This engine cannot be realized. As I told you, this engine cannot be realized. It's a perfect ideal concept. But this idea can be taken as a standard against which the performance of an actual engine can be judged. Based on this theoretical conceived notation, Carnot has designed a cyclic process, which is what is popularly known as Carnot cycle. Let us understand that. In Carnot cycle, the working substance is made to undergo a cyclic operation which was made up of 4 parts, like internal expansion followed by adiabatic expansion, sequentially followed by isothermal compression, and then concluding with adiabatic compression. All these 4 operations are cyclic. Here 1 gram mole of a gas is contained in a cylinder is the assumption. Let us look at Carnot cycle schematic approach. This is how it can be understood. This is the initial state. Now this curve basically looks at isothermal expansion, followed by BC adiabatic expansion, then CD isothermal compression, and it concludes with AD, which is adiabatic compression. So let us, when against pressure and volume taken on x and y axis, y and x axis respectively. These two are at different temperatures. So let us understand isothermal expansion. That means that we are trying to understand this curve first. Normally it starts at A and ends at A. Let us see isothermal expansion. Here, as I said, we are considering that 1 gram mole of a gas is contained in a cylinder. In this indicator diagram, the initial state of the gas is denoted by A, where it has the temperature T1, pressure P1 and volume V1. This cylinder is placed on the source and the piston is moved slowly upward so that the gas expands isothermally. That means temperature of the working substance remaining the same. So in this operation, the pressure of the gas falls and the volume increases. Here we should remember that fall of the temperature is compensated by supply of heat from the source. So the final state of the gas is represented by B, by this point. So therefore, the isothermal expansion of the gas is represented by the curve AB on the indicator diagram. So from this, let us calculate the work done. Let the quantity of heat absorbed from the source in this process be Q1. And this is equal to the amount of work done W1 by the gas in the expansion from initial state P1 V1 to the final state we have taken as P2 V2. So therefore we can calculate the quantity of heat Q1, which is equal to W1 as integral V1 V2 of PdV. PdV we already calculated earlier. Therefore, it can be represented as integral V1 V2 of RT1 into dV by dV. Now that is nothing but RT1 log V2 by V1 to the base E. Now this work done can be represented as this area of the curve B dash A dash A. B dash A dash A is the work done in this cycle from this initial state to the final state. This is one. This is what we have calculated as RT1 log V2 by V1 to the base E. Let us call it as equation 1. Now let us see what will happen in adiabatic expansion, that is the curve BC. Let us see. Now after this isothermal expansion, the cylinder is detached from the source and it is placed on the insulating stand. The piston is allowed to move further adiabatically until the temperature of the gas is same as that of the sink T2. Therefore, the gas does some external work at the expense of internal energy. So that expansion is shown in the diagram, indicator diagram as curve BC. So in the final state, the pressure and volume of the gas are P3 V3. Here the final state is P3 V3. So in this curve, the initial state is P2 V2. So here also we can calculate the work done W2 as integral PdV. Let us see what will happen for the work done here. So the work done, which is taken as W2 in the adiabatic expansion, it is equal to integral PdV within the limits initial to final, V2 to V3. Now this is nothing but V2 to V3 into constant K into dV by V power gamma. Take the constant out of the integral parameter. So therefore it becomes K into integral V2 to V3 of dV by V power gamma. Now that is K into, by applying this converting into definite integral, it will become k into integral 1 by v. So 1 by v power gamma. Therefore, this will become k into v power minus gamma plus 1 divided by minus gamma plus 1 within the definite integral limits v2 to v3. So by substituting these, simplifying, you can write like this. So if you want to eliminate this minus here, so you can change it as k into v power 1 minus gamma by 1 minus gamma. This minus is applied here within the limits v2, v3. So by substituting the limit values, this will become k into these two limits we are applying. v3 power 1 minus gamma minus k into v2, kv2 of 1 minus, v2 to the power 1 minus gamma. That means we expanded this divided by 1 minus gamma. Why we have substituted here like this is because P2 V2 power gamma equal to P3 V3 power gamma equal to constant. So using this equation, P2 V2 power gamma equal to P3 V3 power gamma equal to K. For K value we can substitute this. So therefore our W2 will become P3 V3 minus P2 V2 by 1 minus gamma. And also we know that P2 Vt equal to RT1 and P2 V3 equal to RT2 in terms of universal gas constant relation. So therefore substituting those values for RT1 and RT2 for P2 V3 and P2 V2, so we will get the work done as W is equal to RT2 minus RT1 by 1 minus gamma, or you can modify as R as common thing, R into T1 minus T2 by gamma minus 1. T1 minus T2. That means this minus I eliminated by as using as R into T1 minus T2 by minus is taken as common out. This minus will get out. So therefore R into T1 minus T2 by R minus 1. Now this work done, which is taken as second equation, can be represented in the indicator diagram as. So work done in adiabatic expansion BC curve is represented by the area in the indicated diagram C dash D dash DC. This also you can combine. So C dash D dash DC, this area represents the work done in adiabatic expansion. Let us see adiabatic compression now. So in this cyclic process we have seen isothermal expansion followed by adiabatic expansion. Now let us see isothermal compression, the third stage. Now in this case the cylinder is separated from the insulating stand and placed on the sink which is at a temperature of T2. Now the gas is compressed very slowly until the gas attains the state D, where the pressure and volume will become P4 and V4. Here the values will become P4 and V4. Here the heat of compression is so developed, passes to the sink. So the operation is shown by the curve CD. Here the quantity of heat rejected to the sink be taken as Q1, which is equal to the work done on the gas. So therefore this can be represented as Qt equal to W3 based on the cylinder being separated from the insulating stand and then being placed on the sink at a temperature of T2, where the gas is being compressed slowly till the gas attains the state D, where the pressure and volume will be P3 and V3. Now, after the stage of adiabatic expansion, the gas is much reduced and it has lost its capacity of doing work. So therefore the gas is now should be brought back to initial state P1 V1 by following the isothermal compression and then followed by adiabatic compression. That is, after the second stage called adiabatic expansion, that is this stage, the pressure of the gas is much reduced and it has lost its capacity of doing work. So now the gas is brought back to its initial state P1 V1 by following isothermal compression and adiabatic compression. Now in isothermal compression represented as CD, the cylinder is separated from the insulating stand and placed on the sink at T2. The gas is compressed very slowly until the gas attains the state D. Here, the pressure and volume are P4 and V4 respectively. So here the heat of compression is so developed, passes on to the sink. So the operation is shown by the curve CD. So here we are assuming the quantity of heat rejected to the sink as Q2, which is equal to the work done W3 on the gas. Therefore, work done W3 is equal to Q2, which can be calculated using integral of PdV as like this. Qt equal to W2, it is integral PdV within the limits volume 3 to volume 4. So by substituting the value for P, that will become RT2 into integral V3 to V4 of dV by V. Now simplify this integral by getting the value as RT2 log V4 by V3 to the base E. So by taking the inverse, then automatically you will have a minus sign. Minus sign, always remember, talks about the work done. Is it done on the gas? Is it done or is it done by the gas? That is indicated by the negative sign. So it will therefore becomes, to invert this, minus RT into log V3 by V4 to the base E. Now this work done in isothermal compression in the CD curve can be represented equivalent to the area, this area, C dash, D dash, D, C. This area represents the isothermal compression. Now from this we will go to adiabatic compression represented by the curve dA. Now here, this is the final stage. So we started here, followed this path, then this path, then this path, and now this is the final path. This is the final stage of the process where the cylinder is detached from the sink and placed on the insulating stand. The gas is compressed such that it undergoes slow adiabatic compression until the state A is attained or A is reached. Now the temperature rises from T2 to T1. That is the temperature of the source. So this change is what is shown in the curve dA in the indicator diagram here. So the work done, therefore W4 in this case during the process can easily be calculated by integrating PdV within the limits V4 to V1 now. Like W4 is equal to integral V4 to V1 of PdV. Again P equal to RT by Y, you can substitute. This is minus R into T1 minus 2. If minus is not there, it will become R into T2 minus T1 by 1 minus gamma. If you take the minus common out, it becomes W4 equal to R into T1 minus T2 by gamma minus 1. This is the work done in the fourth stage, what is known as adiabatic compression. So this can be represented in the indicated diagram by the area covered by this one, D dash, A dash, dA. So D dash, A dash, AD. This area. This is work done W4 on the gas during this process. Now we got 4 equations for the 4 processes. So from equation 2 and equation 4. What is equation 2? That is about adiabatic expansion work. What is equation 4? Adiabatic compression work. So from those two equations, we can find that WD is equal to W1 because right hand side is same. And therefore, what is remaining? The rest is the net work done, therefore, will be left between W1 and W3 only. Therefore, net work done will be W1 minus W3. So, based on that, the quantity of heat absorbed by the gas is nothing but Q1 minus Q2. Q1 minus Q2 is equal to W1 minus W3. On this basis, we can compute the efficiency of the engine. So, in order to calculate the efficiency of the heat engine, we should calculate the work done and the amount of heat taken. So, for that, let Q1 be the heat taken during the isothermal expansion at temperature T1K and Q2 be the quantity of heat rejected at a temperature T2K to the sink. Then based on that, we can calculate the efficiency. So, that means the amount of heat taken during isothermal expansion is taken as Q1 at a temperature T1 and the quantity of heat rejected to the sink is taken as Q2 at temperature T2. So based on that, we can define efficiency as eta equal to, eta is the symbol for efficiency. Eta is equal to work done by the engine divided by heat taken from the source. This is the ratio. This ratio gives the efficiency. Work done by the engine divided by heat taken from the source. That is nothing but the heat converted into work divided by heat taken. Heat converted into work divided by heat taken. Therefore, eta will be heat converted into work is nothing but W. Heat taken is nothing but Q1. Therefore, eta is equal to W by Q1. But just now we got what is W? W is the difference of quantity of heat now. So W will be Q1 minus Q2 divided by Q1. So if you expand this, then eta will become 1 minus Q2 by Q1. So this is the expression for engine efficiency. Based on that, net work can be, total work done can be calculated, total work done by the gas in 4 different stages. That is W1, W2, W3, W4 we got now. So therefore, based on that, net work, total work, net means total work done by the gas is nothing but the algebraic sum of all the 4 stages. Therefore, W is equal to W1 plus W2 plus W3 plus W4. So from all the 4 equations of the Carnot cycle, work done equations, we can combine all of them like this. W is equal to W1 is equal to RT1 log V2 by V1 to the base E plus W2 R into T1 minus T2 by gamma minus 1 plus W3 minus RT2 log V3 by V4 to the base E and W4 minus RT1 minus T2 into gamma minus 1. So by combining all of them, we will get the total work done. So we can simplify this as simply RT1 log V2 by V4 to the base E minus RT2 log V3 by V4. These two get cancelled. These two get cancelled, only we will be left with this. So W will be like this. That means points B and C in the curve will be lying in the same adiabatic. That is, having understood this equation, total work done, let us see the diagram. Indicator diagram shows point B and C lie in the same adiabatic. Similarly, points A and D lie on the same adiabatic. Therefore, when you say point B and C lie in same adiabatic curve, then we can say that T1 into V2 power gamma minus 1 therefore is equal to T2 into V3 whole power gamma minus 1. So by cross multiplying, you will get T1 by T2 as V3 by V2 whole power gamma minus 1. Let it be equation 7. Similarly, we have seen points A and D lying on the same adiabatic curve. So therefore, From that we can say T1 into V1 gamma minus 1 equal to T2 into V4 gamma minus 1. Again by cross multiplying, we will have T1 by T2 as V4 by V1 whole power gamma minus 1 as equation 8. Now from these two equations, if you see 7 and 8, left hand side is same only. So therefore, since LHS is equal, you can equate the RHS. So from these two equations, by equating the right hand side, we will get V3 by V2 whole power gamma minus 1 is equal to V4 by V1 whole power gamma minus 1. So by cross multiplying, we will simply say V3, this is x power gamma minus 1 by y power gamma minus 1. X equal to y only, no? Therefore V3 by V2 is equal to V4 by V1. So cross multiply. So therefore you can write V3 by V4 equal to V2 by V1. This is equation 9. Now by substituting this value V3 by V4 equal to V2 by V1 in the equation here, work done for these two values V2 by V1 and V3 by V4, for these two values in equation 6, we will put the values obtained from equation 9. Let us see what we will get. W will be RT1 log V2 by V1 to the base E minus RT2 log V2 by V1 base E. That means for V3 by V4, we substitute this value. Therefore, simplifying this, by taking the R common out, it will become R into T1 minus T2 into log V2 by V1 to the base E. Therefore, eta, if you substitute the efficiency, which is W by Q1, for W you substitute this value. So therefore, R into T1 minus T2 into log E to the base V2 by V1, which is W, divided by what is Q1? RT1 log V2 by 1 to the base E. So by simplifying, you are getting eta equal to T1 minus T2 by T1. So by expanding this, you will obtain the expression for eta as 1 minus T2 by T1 in terms of temperature. This is how using Carnot cycle you can obtain the efficiency of an engine. But there are certain very important drawbacks here, which we taught, what we termed here as impracticability. That is the impracticability of Carnot's engine. Because Carnot's engine basically is an ideal engine and it cannot be realized in actual practice. Why? Let us see the reasons. First reason is, in Carnot's engine, the heat is to be taken and rejected strictly at constant temperature, which is practically very difficult to achieve. Actually, because in actual engine, the temperature of the hot body progressively falls as it gives heat, and to that of the cold body rises as it receives the heat. So in that sense, maintaining constant temperature is highly impossible. And the second reason, the base of cylinder of engine is assumed to be perfectly conducting and other parts being assumed to be perfectly non-conducting. This is not again feasible. And then the third reason for impracticability can be viewed as the engine has a very slow working nature. It does not matter whatever be the efficiency of the engine. If it is slow working, it may be of no use nowadays in life. So in that sense, it is impracticable. Another important reason for impracticability is, according to Carnot's thinking process, it is perfectly reversible in its action. When the cycle is reversed, let us say, the working substance will take an amount of Q2 of heat from the sink and gives out an amount of Q1 of heat to the source. That means the engine is therefore acting as a refrigerator. Got it? These features cannot be actually realized. Therefore, it is not possible to obtain a Carnot engine in practice. So, these are the practical difficulties in Carnot's engine. This is what we need to understand. So, if we summarize this session, we try to understand the reversible engine thought process conceived by the French scientist in 1824, one Mr. Carnot. According to him, he assumed the engine to be having four different parts, namely working substance, source of heat, sink, and insulating stand. Based on that, a very popular cycle has been assumed comprising of four different operations, namely isothermal expansion, adiabatic expansion, isothermal compression, and concluded by adiabatic compression. And based on that, we obtained four different expressions for work done in four different stages and calculated the total work done. And based on that, we looked at the efficiency of the engine and obtained the expression for efficiency of the engine in the form of eta. And there we understood, having derived that, achieving this practically, this engine is found to be impracticable. Reasons found to be are very clearly stated as: in Carnot's engine, heat is taken and rejected strictly at constant temperature, which is practically very difficult to achieve, because in actual engine, temperature of hot body progressively falls as it gives heat at the end of the to that of the cold body rages as it receives the heat. And the second reason we mentioned was the base of the cylinder of the engine is assumed to be perfectly conducting and other parts perfectly non-conducting, which is not again feasible. The engine has a very slow working nature, which means it does not matter whatever be the efficiency of the engine if it is slow working. It may be in that case, it may be of absolutely no use in current environment. And also, moreover, in Carnot's approach, it is perfectly reversible in its action. That is, when the cycle is reversed, the working substance will take an amount of heat, let us say Q2 from the sink, and gives out an amount Q1 of the heat to the source. That means engine is acting as a refrigerator. These features cannot be actually realized. Therefore, it is not possible to obtain a Carnot engine in practice. Now, this is what we have seen in this session. In the next session, we look at Carnot's theorem leading to the approach of second law of thermodynamics.